Okay. Hello. Um, Thanks to Bruce for inviting me to do this. I know he wants to keep this as much like a reading as it can be, so I will try to do my best to do that. I thought I would read one poem from each of my three books. Um, uh, the first book of mine is called Hitler's Mustache, and it's a book of poems about Hitler's mustache largely. And all of the poems in it are titled Hitler's Mustache colon something. In this particular case, it's Hitler's Mustache, the short story. Um, so, important arrangements were to be made. The party would not plan itself. She sat on her square black sofa, dreaming about the decorations and imagining the caterer and even some of the clothes her guest might be wearing. It made her happy to think like this. But soon enough her grand hopes began to settle like soft snow on the warm floor of the situation. She didn't have much money. A would never get behind her on this. Her sister-in-law would drink too much and break her black square heel and throw her purse in the swimming pool and fall asleep in a lawn chair. There were bills that needed to be paid now. If only she had never met Mustache. If only he hadn't mustached her aunt in the furnace or breaded her over an open mustache. That evening, while her husband and children ate the food she had carefully mustached for them, she got an idea. Perhaps, she thought, if I were to mistake something for Mustache. It seemed perfect. It covered all the angles. A would get behind her because he needed that mustache. Her sister-in-law would take care of the bills. The cold snow began to melt. As a metaphor for her mood, the cold snow no longer made any sense and began to drift upward, out of the story, out of the poem, existing only in the past, in another time, one that seemed much bleaker. The next morning she packed the children's lunches and pressed A's shirt for him. After the kids were on the bus and A kissed her cheek and drove the Volkswagen down the long driveway, she fed the mustache and packed her baggage. She called the mustache, put a note on the door for the mustache, and left, making sure she left the mustache slightly cracked so the mustache would be able to mustache the mustache. The day was hot, and by the time she reached the airport, she was sweating through her shirt. She fanned herself with a mustache and nervously surveyed the situation. There were two guards near the mustache. Each mustache looked like it held a mustache. She ordered a cup of mustache from the mustache who worked behind the mustache. Mustache knew that she couldn't mustache about this forever. She'd have to make up her mind mustache. She studied the mustache. She thought about all of the mustache in her mustache, all of the mustache, all of the mustache and the mustache and the mustache and the mustache. She thought about the mustaches when her mustache were put in mustache. She took one more mustache of mustache. She mustached. She mustached her mustache, and with every mustache of her mustache, mustached. So, uh, it's Hitler's mustache. Um, it's that sort of thing. Oh, the next poem I'm going to read for you is from Poetry, which is my second book. All of these books, by the way, are available from their publisher or from Amazon, or you can find a way. So you should look into them. Poetry. All of the poems in it are entitled something like Poem Addressing such and such. In this case, it's a poem addressing babies. Isn't this a good poem? Oh, yes, it is. It is a very good poem. This poem is a very good poem. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. What do you think, honey? What are you thinking, baby? Oh, baby, sweet baby. Yes, that's a sweet baby. Are you a smiling baby? Yes, oh, yes, you're smiling, aren't you? Cutie, you're such a cutie. My goodness, aren't you a cutie? Isn't this a good poem? Yes, it is a good poem. Yes, it is. Whose fat little cheeks are those? Are those your fat little cheeks? Oh, you're a sweetie. Sweetie pie, sweetie pie. My little cutie fat cheeks, my little pretty pie. Oh, yes, it is a good poem. Oh, yes, it is. It is a good, good poem. So, that's a poem addressing babies from poetry, poetry, poetry. And then the last poem that I will be reading um, is from this book, which is called Tina. Um, and most of the poems in this book are addressed to a person named Tina. Um, and well, here we go. This poem is entitled Skateboarding. I skate for me and my homeboys. We grind and carve. Let's skate. We yell that shit, Tina. We fucking yell it. We're behind the grocery store, Tina, shredding this curb, and John Law comes up and is like, scram, fuckers, so lame. And I'm adjusting my beret. And Tina, my skate Betty, I know you love me, but I can't even explain how much I will skate or die. Um, so that's it for me. I want to thank Bruce again for having me, and I really appreciate it. And all right.